for coming out so early on a Sunday morning. I hope you're enjoying your time here at WordCamp Miami. This is actually my very first time in Miami, and I'm loving it. Today, I want to share with you, as business owners, it's, we are technically the owners of our business, right? It says on our business card, we're the founder, we're the CEO, we're the head chef, cook, bottle washer, all that goodness. We are technically running our business. But has anyone here ever felt run by their business? That's not so much fun. That is not why we started a business. That was not the plans. And so I want to share with you today is take you on a little bit of a journey to help you maybe remember why you started in the first place. Lean into where you're going, and then give you some tools so you can create the business and the life you love. There's the 13 and 16-year-old about 10 years ago. I would not be in WordPress if it wasn't for these two. As a matter of fact, I would still be at Intel. As they mentioned, I had my degrees from Stanford, and I was doing the thing. I was in my 20s. I was at Intel. I was making the money, all that stuff, and I was miserable. And if it weren't for these two boys, I'd probably still be there. But when I had my first son it was 2003, which wasn't that the first year of a WordPress release? I can't remember if it was 3 or 6. But very early on, it timed it about then, I switched down to part-time. I was trying to do it all. I was trying to be the super mom and the super employee. But to anyone who's tried to do both, all you end up feeling is super and 100% burned out. So when my second son was born, I actually quit Intel and became a stay-at-home mom. Now, to anyone who's spent 24/7 with their kids, you've learned very quickly that too much bonding with your children, not a good thing. And so I found myself on a journey of I've got to do something. I need a creative outlet somewhere. And I was selling on eBay. I was trying MLMs, all these things. And somewhere along the way, someone mentioned WordPress. And being an engineer, I don't know how this exactly happened, but I found myself at the park while my kids were playing. I had gone to iThemes and purchased the Essence blank theme, and I had printed the PHP code, and I was reading the code, because this is how engineers learn WordPress. And something must have sparked inside of me, something about the creativity and that old engineering ability to sort of solve. And then the design piece of being able to create, it suddenly just clicked. And I found myself building websites like many of us do for our friends and local nonprofits. And it was perfect. It was exactly what I needed at that time in my life. My boys were 3 and 5 when I began. And so literally when I started freelancing and realized I could make money doing this too, the only goal I had for my business was to be able to pay a nanny to come in for about 4 to 6 hours a week so I could go food shopping by myself. This was my goal in business. But that's what I needed. And, as my kids got older, right, and they started being in the elementary school and I started having 20, 30 hours and my business started growing, I started being able to step into doing more and more work while still being able to prioritize those two boys because I was still showing up in the classroom and I was still there at 3 o'clock when they came home. But as I got busier and busier, I started having this extra work. And so I was able to bring on a team. I was able to start growing. So when my kids hit probably middle to elementary, kind of middle school age, I found myself transitioning into being an agency owner. And I will tell you, the best day to anyone who owns a business, I'm assuming they'll probably mirror my sentiments, the best day of the month is when you pay your team. There is nothing more rewarding. When I started with my first contractor, I had sent him $1,000 or $1,500. I don't even remember how much. And he texted me and he said, I just bought a mattress. And I went, oh my God. I realized WordPress not only was creating my life, now it's actually impacting someone else's. If I had been at Intel, I would have just been the worker bee, but now I'm actually touching someone else's life. Oh my God. And that was incredible. And WordPress has allowed me to speak. I would have never known I loved the stage if it wasn't for WordPress and it wasn't for one of my people. Someone on my team told me, 2015, I think it was, she's like, there's this business camp, it's called WordPress, you should go and you should speak. And I said, I'm not going and I'm not speaking. Who does that to themselves? Someone would have to submit me for me to do something like that. Don't ever say this to a team member. They will do it. A month later, congratulations, you've been accepted to speak. I'm like, what did you do? I got up there at my very first WordCamp ever and spoke. I got up there with a microphone and I'm like, oh, I like this. I had no idea. But the beautiful thing with WordPress is it gives us not only in like our plan for our business, but opportunities we would have never even known we'd have. And suddenly, I mean, I got an opportunity to keynote last year, and I have like big dreams of being someday a 10K keynote speaker. We'll just put it out there to the universe. Who knows? But the great thing is you can do it. And now, you know, as I have been doing this 10 plus years, I'm moving into coaching and mentoring others, which is amazing. And as I consider like what my life would have been at Intel, I would have, for the first 5 years, been networker bee, which is kind of what I did as a freelancer. And then the next 10 years, I would have moved into management, which is kind of what I've done as an agency owner. And then the next 10 years, I would be mentoring other people coming up through the ranks, which is now what I'm able to do. But the cool thing, and what WordPress allows all of us to do, is to define what we want from our business every step of the way for what we need. What I needed when my boys were 3 and 5 is very different. Now I've got one. Next year I'll have 2 in high school, and like hopefully they will fly away to college and like fly in no boomerang kits. Not allowed. That conversation's already been had. But now I can, you know, I can start almost, it's fun being 40. I feel like I'm in my 20s again doing it right. It's like I've got the dreams, but this time they're more my dreams than the should dreams. And when you have your own business, anything is possible. You get to define where you're going. But what's important is that you realize where you're going and why you're going. I had a very clear why. I have a very clear why in my business. It's those 2 boys. You know, when I look at am I successful or not, am I a good mother? Do I feel like I've been empowered to be the mother I want to be in this season of my life? And if I can say yes, I've been exceptionally successful in my business because those are my values. Those are my why. And so I want to lean you guys into re-remembering why you started this in the first place. So I'm going to try timing this and giving you a beeper. I tried this once without a timer, and it's really hard to get an audience back when they start talking to each other. So when you hear the beep, I need you guys to be quiet. But what I'm going to do is I want you to just partner up with someone near you, and if hopefully someone new. I'm going to give you 2 minutes for one of you to share why are you here? Like, what brought you to this? And then when it beeps, to switch so you can share the story with the other person. And then when it beeps again, I'm going to need you guys to come back to me. I'm going to only give you 2 minutes on each side. It's going to feel tight, but we're a little tight for time. So 1, 2, 3, go. All right, switch. Hey, when people are talking, I know they're engaging and having a great time, and that's why we're here. I see it as a good sign when people talk. All right, guys, I'm going to bring you guys back. Remember the rules. You guys are great. No, this is good. I love this. So what I love is if you notice how the energy in the room like went up, because we're all so excited. I mean, we're doing this for a reason. It is exciting, and it's really cool to remember. I mean, did you guys feel it? Did you feel that energy increase of remembering like why on earth you started this in the first place? Good job. Thank you. Oh, I planted her. It's always good to plant someone in the audience who plays along. I got my clicker too. 2 hands. Ooh. And then I want you, it's different being on this mic. And then as you lean into why it matters, I want you to think about, how does it feel? How are you feeling as a result of being in this place? Because so often when we think about our goals, we tend to think about, I want to hit 6 figures. I want to hit 7 figures. I want this. I want that. But really what we're typically leaning into is a feeling. I want to feel safe. I want to feel secure. I want to feel grounded. It's the feeling we actually want to lean into. We tend to have defined what we think will get us there, but the reality is really knowing that feeling we're craving. Because if we can learn what we're craving, let's say it is stability or security, if we can figure out how to each and every moment of our day and our lives and every decision we do lean into a feeling of stability, we're going to be fulfilled every step along the way because we are actually on the right path. We may or may not get to this magical 6-figure goal, so whatever goal we thought would make us arrive, but we're much happier because we're actually achieving what we want for our life. So if you've got a piece of paper or again, visualize, I like to think of when I'm doing goal setting as a staircase. So we've got a staircase going all the way up, and up at the tippy top is our goal. Now, the thing I love about the staircase is there's one path up. And that means that as we do things, we're either going up the stairs towards our goal or we're not. And this makes it really easy as you have opportunities and things that happen in your world that are great, shiny opportunities to say, does this take me to where I'm going or doesn't it? The other thing I want you to realize, and as you look at your goal and it's at the top of the stairs and it looks like, how the heck am I going to pull that one off? I want you to embrace the fact that you don't have to and shouldn't have it all figured out. In fact, if you have it all figured out, your goal and your dream is probably not big enough. Because the reality is right now we can only see with what we know today. Tomorrow we're going to know more. And the fact that there are the unknowns, I want you to trust in two things. One, that when the time comes, you are going to know the next step. You're going to be that much further up the staircase, and you will know what to do when the time comes. And the other beautiful thing is if you don't have it so mapped out, like by micro-controlling, you're actually limiting your potential. Because who knows what opportunity is going to come up that you never thought would take you up that staircase. And so embrace the fact that you don't have it all figured out. In fact, that is what I would love to see. And then I would like to invite you to think about one step. What is one thing you could do today? It could take all of 5 minutes. Because remember, we're going up the staircase, and some days we'll take a little step, and some days we'll take a big leap. But it really doesn't matter, because either way, we're moving the right direction. What is one thing you could do that would move the needle one baby step closer? It can only take you 5 minutes. It doesn't need to be complicated. It doesn't need to be big. It just needs to move you in the direction you're going. So you might be like, oh, this is great. You know, I'm all inspired. I've got my goal. Great. And then we leave here and like, how do we not let that just be something we set in a moment and forgot? Well, we want to set ourselves up for a success. One of the ways is to establish ritual. And this is where also habit stacking can be really helpful. So for example, every morning I have a cup of coffee. That's just like, I do it on autopilot. Now, if I didn't do my other rituals to ensure success, I would live on coffee and cream all day and wonder why by 2 o'clock I'm really cranky, really crabby because all I've had is caffeine and cream. So what do? When I bake my cup of coffee, I also bake a huge pot of herbal tea, fill up a ginormous water bottle, put a lemon inside, and have my hummus and other things. I position myself for success because I know those are things that set me up to be in a place of performance and really doing well through the day. When I walk in my office, I have a little ritual. I put on my candle and I put on background music, which is just energetically very even. And I like the background noise, and it just sets my tone for the day. And those little things, you need to know what you need, but those little things position you for success. An important one, and one I do with every single one of my clients, it's called the statement and alignment, which is a very clear version of your goal. And it really summarizes in one sentence the things I took you through. It is essentially, where am I going? And where am I going? Why am I going there? And how will I feel when I arrive? And I went to Canva and whipped up a quick JPEG, and that is the desktop image on my computer. So every day when I sit down, I am reminded of where the heck I'm going. So that way, when there's a new tool, a new opportunity, a new project, a new this, a new that, I can ask myself, it may be an opportunity, but not every project, not every opportunity is created equal or the right one for you. And I can be constantly reminded, where am I going? Does this align? It makes the choice very easy. Because the reality is, if you're not moving up towards your goal, you're going off to the side. So you need to figure out, like, either I'm going after the wrong goal, or, you wonder why you don't get there. Well, you got to put time into going up that staircase. And, if it is in fact your dream, it's worth pursuing that, period. So I inserted this here. Actually, I'll tweet out, and if things go well, I'll auto-tweet out the link for this presentation. This is just a workbook. I put it in the middle of my presentation because otherwise I would have forgotten to mention it. It just takes you through basically what I talked you through, just in case you want to print it and do journaling later. It's got a cool habit tracker, all that fun stuff. And see, here, this is the interesting thing about dreams and goals. We often ask ourselves, like, we know what we want to do in business. We know what we should do in business. And yet we're, for some reason, like, hiding under our desk. It's like, I want that dream. I want that goal. And yet growth is scary. The reason it's scary is because you are doing something new. You are pushing yourself into a space you've never been before. And our bodies are really interesting. We're designed for, if we feel danger, we kick into fight flight. This is made for when there's a bear eating us, or chasing us to eat us, right? But our body doesn't know it. We get nervous, we get scared, we get uncomfortable, and our body goes into, whoa, I might get eaten. Now, this goal is not going to eat you, but your body doesn't know that. And you can kick very easily into fight flight. Now, the problem with fight flight is this is where you're feeling the energies of what? Fear, lack, insecurity. I'm not good enough. I can't pull this off. I'm an idiot. And you just spiral. That is not a place we can take over the world. That is not an energy where we're going to achieve our goals. Where we want to be is in the space of confidence. Those days where you're like, I got this. And those days where something comes up, you hit a challenge and you're just like, that's okay. I can problem solve this. Not a problem. That's where you want to be. So how do you get there? How do you get from those moments where you're hiding under your desk to the moments where you're like, I got this? Well, all right, I switched my slide order. We'll go to this one, then back to the other one. You prioritize your energy, and then you take action. When you're feeling, let's pretend here an email has come into the inbox, right? Email comes in, a site has been hacked. 2 sets of responses. There's the anxiety. Oh my God, not another one. I can't pull this off. Like the sky is falling. It's not okay. And you constrict. Versus confidence. Okay, there's a hack. Good. I know how to fix that, or I know people who can help me fix it. And so the important thing is that we learn which space we're in. So when we find ourselves in that space of anxiety, that we go and we catch that. I'm realizing, here we go. We realize that our feelings are a result of thoughts. Information comes in from the world, right? An email comes in. And then we assign a meaning. We decide the sky is falling, or we can deal with it. The important and interesting thing about this is we get to choose the meaning we assign. And so we can change the meaning. So how do you do that? So I want to take you through an exercise. I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to visualize a stressful situation, something where something has gone on at work, and you are just like, think of the last project that gave you anxiety and just go there. Just feel into it. And now I want you to visualize a white screen. Just let your mind go blank. Visualize a white screen. There is nothing on it. And I want to take you to the opposite end of the spectrum. I want you to visualize a moment where things are amazing, where you just got a thank you from a client, or you had one of those rock star moments where you're like, yes. And go there and feel into that. And now I want you to visualize a whiteboard again. And open your eyes and return to me. So the reason I bring up the exercise and the reason I use the whiteboard is this is where we realize that these are just thoughts. You were able to go into a space of stress and anxiety and feel into it and then come back to neutral. And you were able to go into a space of possibility and I've got this and come back to neutral. When we find ourselves in spaces where we are sort of spiraling downward, it's kind of like a water wheel. It's spinning and spinning and spinning and spinning and spinning. You can't just start spinning it the other way. And so the way you transition from being in the downward spiral is to visualize a whiteboard, to basically get yourself back to neutral. This is how we prioritize our energy. We see how we're feeling, and our only job in that moment is to stop the spiral, is to kind of insert a stick into that, water wheel and stop it. And only when you energetically notice that you're back to neutral, where you're like, okay, I'm not feeling tight and constrictive, only then do you move into possibility and taking action. Clicker. So it looks like importing my slides messed it up, but that's okay. So what do you do when you find yourself off track? You basically lean into everything we talked about in the beginning of this presentation. You remember where you're going. You remember why you're going there. You remember how it's going to feel when you get there. And you ask yourself, in those moments where you are hiding under your desk and you've crawled out, in that moment you need to ask yourself, What is the next smallest thing I can do to lean in towards the feeling of where I want to be? And it may not be necessarily work. It may simply be in that moment you need some self-care. You need some fresh air. You need some hydration. You need a walk. You need to just do whatever, put on music. But to take care of yourself and almost remember the things that set you up for success, make sure those are in place, because that will be what positions you to be able to return to taking over the world. The other thing that's super important that I think many of us forget, right, is to celebrate the journey. This is our life. Like, right, it's not about when I get to the goal, I'm going to throw a party. Because if you're like me, the second you get near your goal, you hike it higher. Like, you're never going to arrive. Because we're dreamers, right? We're like, So make sure that each and every day you are celebrating and loving your journey. Because that is the point. We're creating businesses we love, lives we love. And so let's every moment along the way celebrate those little wins, recognize the little steps we've done. And so we can love our lives and we can love our business. I'm Jocelyn Mozak. As shared, I'm the founder of Mozak Design, and I am also a business coach to other creative professionals. I have a copy of these slides. Oh, it's not on this one. I'll go back to the one that had it at Jocelyn Mozak /W WordCamp Miami. There we go, down the bottom. If you want a copy, and I'll also be tweeting them out. Thank you so much. Any questions? Which slide do you want? Next one. That one? Last one. Oh, you want me? There's me. All right, question here. Do you want to be a runner or should I be a runner? Well, I don't have a mic, so it's probably fine.
Yeah. So my name is Elizabeth Garami. Thank you for the presentation. Sorry I missed part of it. I also wanted to ask you, what are some examples of the questions that your customers reach you with? What are some of the challenges you often see?
Oh, my coaching clients? Oh, this is fun. Oh, my goodness. Some of my favorite ones that I support people with. So it's an ironic one. One of the biggest challenges, I work with a lot of, people who are WordPress developers. And so they come to me and they're like, I don't understand this. I can do these services for my clients. I can build their website. I can come up with their marketing stuff. And I can't get my own damn website. Oops. Language, I guess. I can't get my own website up. It's because we're so close to our own stuff. And so what I love to do with them, especially, exactly. Well, then here's what I would, all right, I got, here is the advice I would give you. I say, okay, you can do this for your clients. Great. Tell me what you do with your clients. If you were a client, what would the process look like? Well, that's easy for them to answer very quickly. They're like, oh, I would do this and then this and then this and then this and then this. And I'm like, great. So based on what you shared with me, you're on step 1 of your own process. So then what's step 2? Oh, it's just this. Great. That's your homework for the week. And so it's remembering, sometimes we are too close to our own stuff and we do need to bring out outside people. Like I do that with graphics design. My team will just please me. I actually intentionally bring in outside people who would treat me like a client. But a lot of times I coach myself, and really the best advice is to say, if you're sitting there going, I should know how to do this. I do it for my clients. Great. What does that look like? Then ask yourself, where am I? Okay, what's my next step? The other thing I love to do talk with clients about is, I didn't talk about in this talk, but there's something called the drama triangle, which is all about sort of energy exchange. And we can come into a place where we are trying to, let's see, have you ever found yourself with an estimate being like, oh, I can't possibly put that number on there. They can't pay that much. They shouldn't pay that much. Ooh. We can find ourselves making decisions on behalf of our clients. Hello, that's not our job. And so remembering that, I have a great picture of a yard, right? Your yard, their yard. You're responsible for your yard. They're responsible for their yard. We don't need to make decisions for our clients. We need to simply say, this is how I can show up and serve. This is the prices I need for my business to work. right? This is the whatever. And then we present the options, and it's up to the client to make decisions on what's right for their business. Because how dare we, in reality, make a decision? And I learned this through one of my friends. She's like, she had spent $5,000-6,000 on her first website. She's a single mom. She's like, how dare you decide for me that I shouldn't make that investment in my business? And that was at a time where I probably mentally would have said, oh, that should have only been a $3,000 site, or whatever the number was. How dare I? And the last thing I can think of that I use a lot with my clients is that when they're sharing something with me, and I would encourage you to reflect on this for yourself, that's a really interesting story you're telling yourself. How many times do we decide there's all these like rules? Like we've made up this story about like this can't happen till that happens, or blah, 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 blah. Really? Interesting. You sure about that? So I don't know if that answered your question or not, but oh, good. But those are some of the things that come top of mind that I deal with, because the reality is we're all going through the same experience. My clients are always like, how do you know what I'm thinking? I'm like, because I've been there. You know, how do you know to email me and know that like I'm hiding under my desk? Because I've been there. I know our last conversation. I know this is stressful and scary. You've been quiet for 3 days. You're under your desk. Come on out. Right? I mean, Nathan's also an amazing business coach, and both of us, our job is to lovingly shove our clients in the deep end. Like, it's okay. I'll be there. Now go. You got this. I'll help. But go. All right. Any other questions? All right. Well, thank you guys so much. Yeah, Nathan is going to be up next. This is going to be oops, we got a question. What? Oh, so all these videos are going to be up on WordCamp TV. I don't know the timeline. It varies from camp to camp, but they all eventually find their home there. And they're being streamed, right? Here.
Oh, geez, the pressure. Hi, how you doing? I do smooth jazz on the weekends. There's going to be an email sent after, once the videos are processed to the attendees. There should be a follow-up email. But like she said, it's a volunteer effort for the WordCamp team, so it might take some weeks. But as soon as we think most of them are going up on there, we'll be the co-lead organizers will make sure to send out an email notice, and Twitter and all the other things.
I also am planning to just do, when I get home, a recording of this. So if you follow me on Twitter, just Jocelyn Mozak, I will tweet out basically the same presentation, but recorded for you guys if you want it. So just know that I now have promised, and that will show up, within probably a couple of days. I can easily do that. All right. Thank you, guys.
Another round of applause. Thank you, Jocelyn.